Now, Martin O'Malley is a former mayor of Baltimore, a former governor of Maryland, and a former Democratic presidential candidate. But his most relevant position in this moment is former commissioner of the Social Security Administration. And he sat down with 11 News Investigates this morning as the Trump administration and DOGE take aim at the agency he used to lead. You led these people as recently as December.
Yes.
What are you hearing from these employees?
There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of shock, and now they've been betrayed by the agency that they loved and that they committed their life to. It's not right, it's not fair, and my heart goes out to them. And I do believe we will overcome this, but these are really tough times for people that gave their whole lives to serving their fellow Americans. I feel very, very badly for them.
You recently said that the cuts being made to the SSA, the announced plans for it, you said that you're going to see the system collapse and an interruption of benefits within the next 30 to 90 days. What's your evidence for that?
Yeah, I truly believe that. I know that the sort of wrecking ball that's being taken to the agency, the number of firings, paying people to leave, and paying them actually for a whole year to leave today, all of these things are going to reduce their staffing to a level that will lead to cascading numbers of service interruptions, system shutdowns, and ultimately, I do believe, an interruption of benefits. We already are seeing service timelines skyrocket, but then you're going to see intermittent interruptions of the processing and claim system, ultimately an interruption in benefits. For what duration, I do not know.
So the SSA has never missed a payment before. What are the cascading consequences that happen if they do miss a payment? Yeah,
the agency and the hardworking people up there at Woodlawn pride themselves on the fact that they've never missed a payment in 90 years. But what's the effect of missing the benefits? Half of all seniors who are living alone depend entirely upon that Social Security payment and to keep them out of poverty. So seniors, people with disabilities. Actually, a lot of kids are lifted out of poverty by Social Security, second only to the child tax credit.
The acting SSA commissioner has announced plans to slash 7,000 jobs, which would represent 12% of the workforce. And then many senior staff have decided to resign, a loss of decades of expertise.
Right.
What's at risk when you do that?
There's an enormous amount of knowledge and experience that goes into making Social Security run. The amount of data they have, the earnings records, your record, my record, from the very first job we ever had, is in that green screen, very old, somewhat fragile, with these reckless actions that these unelected people, like co-President Musk and the Doge kids are taking up there is just unconscionable.
Elon Musk has called SSA the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. President Trump has said that his administration will not be touching Social Security and that they're only going after fraud in SSA. What's your response to that?
They say they're going after fraud at SSA, but one of their very first actions within 2 days of being in office was to fire the Inspector General, not only of the Social Security Administration, whose job it is to prosecute fraud, but he fired every one of those independent Inspector Generals. So this notion that somehow it's a pyramid scheme or a Ponzi scheme is disproved first by the fact that it's been going on for 90 years, second by the fact that every year they get a clean audit, unlike the Department of Defense. So this is a super efficient program that is being gutted and run into the ground. I do believe they want to break it so that they can loot it.
The SSA did not respond to a request for comment, but we will update our story online if they do. Coming up new at 6, the Trump administration announced on Tuesday that it was seeking to sell 83 federal properties in Maryland, including SSA headquarters in Woodlawn. Why O'Malley thinks the goal of that move is connected to privatizing Social Security. For 11 News Investigates, I'm Tolly Taylor.